So this poor gentleman, his mom was living in Poland. He was a Polish US person and he was in the States, and his mom won the lottery in Poland and she wanted to send him money as a gift after she won the lottery. So he contacted his US tax return preparer advisor and said, "Gee, my mom wants to send me this money as a gift. Do I have to do anything? Am I going to be taxable on it? Whatever. He asked all the right questions. He told the return advisor about the gift, and that person unfortunately didn't know that you have to file Form 3520, and it was never filed. Several years later, this individual wanted to gift money to his nephew who was in Poland. So he started to do his own research to see, gee, do I have to do anything before I make a gift to my nephew? And then he came across, under, attorney Google, all of this reference to Form 3520, and if you get a foreign gift. So he realizes, gee, I should have filed this thing. Now what do I do? So then he went to like an international tax lawyer and explained the problem. And that person said, well, the IRS has this special program where you can file the late return, and as long as we submit a reasonable cause statement, they may forgive the penalty. That reasonable cause statement, from what I could discern from the case, was a very well prepared statement. And it made clear that he had acted with ordinary business care and prudence, because before his mother made the gift, he went and spoke to his advisor and got the all clear that this was okay and nothing needed to be done.
Virginia, did they have an actual record of that? Because that's a huge...
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he had emails going back and forth. I'm sure that the tax advisor, maybe they had WhatsApps, maybe even if it was just a phone conversation. I spoke to him on such and such a date. This is what he told me. If the advisor was asked, I don't think he would lie, because that's getting pretty serious, right?
That's a huge plus, because a lot of the issues we encounter, that record doesn't exist.
He submitted his reasonable cause statement, which from what I could tell from the case, was well prepared. It covered everything. I'm like, surely he should win. IRS said not reasonable cause.
Did he explain why?
I think it's no excuse that you didn't know the law.
Really?
Something ridiculous.
Wow.
And so he had to go to court to try and get the penalty amount refunded. Now, this is a problem with this Form 3520, is that if the IRS assesses the tax, you can't really go and fight them until you pay the penalty, and then you sue for a refund, basically.
This is something else that is widely misunderstood by everyone, that it depends on how the fine is levied and the penalty. That normally, if they levy a fine, sometimes you get the opportunity to fight it before paying it, right? But other times, you have to pay it first.
But not an assessable penalty. If it's an assessable penalty, you don't get that chance. It's like they can garnish your wages and take the money somehow from you if you don't pay. So that's another complicated topic. Taxpayer Assistance Services Advocate Services has pointed that out to the IRS. It's like, guys, we got to fix this thing. It's still not fixed, but hope springs eternal.
Hope springs eternal. That's going to be our new mantra.
It's got to be. So they assessed the penalty. He paid and then sued them in court. The court reviewed everything and said he had reasonable cause. So the penalty was reversed and they refunded it. The problem is, how much money did this poor guy have to spend? How much time did he have to spend? How much sleepless nights did he have over this, right? It's not just, thank God I won, I got my money back. What about the time opportunity cost that's been gone? So
100%. We like to talk about it. It's better to prepare than it is to repair. You just get this message out there. If we can
be proactive instead of defensive.
Exactly. I just want to help people not make these mistakes, because even if they win, the cost in legal fees, in sleepless nights, to your point, I want to help people avoid that. And it's doable. It's just, you've got to be proactive. You've got to prepare.
As well, Richard, you've got to be prepared that if you want professional advice and you want good advice, you have to pay professional fees. And I think that's a big part of the problem here, that people say, well, you know what? I'll go to Dr. Google, or in this case, Attorney Google, and I'll get it from there. And I get it. There's a ton of information out there. But let me just say, some of that information is wrong. That's the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is, these areas of tax are usually quite complicated. You can't figure it all out without training as a lawyer or having been in the business for a while. You can't piece all together the Google bits and come up with the right answer. I don't know about Chat GPT, or I'm sure you can get a lot of guidance and it will save you oodles of time. At this point in time, I think you still need someone with the experience. You're not going to get it from Google or Chat GPT.